Right guys, today in this video, we're going to talk about why you are still skinny and how to fix it. So plenty of people have been training for years on end, months on end, weeks on end. They might have only just started in the gym. They're skinny. They're trying to solve it. Oftentimes it's the people who've been training for a bit of time. They're not making the progress they want, but they think they're doing everything right. They think they're training hard. They think they're eating well. They think they're recovering properly, but they're not seeing results. They're not seeing the results they want. They're not getting the results that their peers, people online are getting. So they think something's wrong with their programming. So we're going to talk about why they are still skinny and how they can fix that problem. So the three pillars that hold up our bodies, our physiques, that will make us make progress, improve our performance, get us big over time are our training, our eating, and our recovering. And oftentimes it's the skinny people who think they're nailing all of these things, and it's just a fault with their genetics, and they've been dealt a bad hand. They're trying really hard. They're not making progress. They're nailing all these things, but they're not big. So the main thing people get wrong is they think they're training hard when they're not. They think they're eating properly when they're not. And they think they're recovering as best as they can when they are not. It is just a simple case that when you train to failure, proper failure, it is difficult. Lots of people are not willing to go there, to put themselves there. They will put blockers in their head mentally that will stop them being able to push sets to failure because they'll think they've got another set coming, so they'll leave a bit in the tank. They'll think they don't want to cook their legs because they've got work tomorrow. They'll think about these things, back of their mind, devil on the shoulder, that will hold them back. Nobody really trains hard. Very few people's programs actually enable them to train hard. They have a lot of fluffy work, a lot of baby exercises, machine work, easy stuff, the easy alternatives. Everyone will jump on a leg press. Nobody will jump on a squat. Everyone will jump on a cable row. Nobody will jump on a bent over row. Everyone will jump on some flapping around with some flies. Nobody's going to load up the incline bench. It's just a case of people training what they think is hard, but it's just going through the motions. Same with eating. People say they're eating clean because they're not eating McDonald's 3 times a day and getting takeaways. That is really the bare minimum, not eating junk food. That doesn't mean that you're eating clean at all or eating properly. If you've got sparse meals scattered throughout the day and it's inconsistent, it's not got enough protein in, it's full of fat, and it's not centered around your workouts, your training, your pre, intra, and post being the most important meals of the day, super high in carbs, low in fat, you're not really eating properly at all. Very few people eat like adults nowadays. Most people eat like children with pre-prepared microwavable meals, little powders, pills, supplements, whatever, protein yogurts, protein pizzas, all that stuff. It's just junk food in disguise. Plenty of people still fall for that, unfortunately. And then when it comes to recovery, everyone thinks because they get in bed by 10 o'clock, they're recovering properly. That doesn't mean they've got good sleep hygiene at all. You still actually need restful quality sleep, not on your phone right up until that last minute. You still actually need good sleep. You can't just be in bed and that makes the difference. You actually need rest days. You can't just train 7 days a week and because you're young and feel fine, you'll get away with it. Same way with your programming. Just because you like training chest all the time doesn't mean you can get away with training chest 3 times a week. If your recovery isn't there, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Drinking alcohol, smoking, all these sorts of things, they're terrible for your recovery, but they're usually the last thing people look at cutting out because they look for easy fixes before they look at difficult lifestyle changes. So oftentimes when people say they're nailing these things, they're really just doing the bare minimum to feel like they're ticking a box. So unfortunately, squeezing in a couple sessions in the gym, eating a couple protein yogurts and pizzas and all that stuff from the supermarket and going to bed by 11 o'clock at night and setting a little alarm, having a bit of water, these sort of easy things aren't the real make or break difference between growing, making progress, or making performance changes to ourselves in the gym, in our lives. If we want to change the way we look, we are going to change the way we live. We're going to need to actually change our lifestyle, which is unfortunately the last thing people do. Alcohol will always stay in for most people. They'll keep drinking. They'll keep on smoking. They won't give up those things which are detrimental to their health. They are basically 2 forms of poison people then ingest. They increase your oxidative stress to the point where you are going to die young. No matter what you say, you might have had a grandma who lived to 90 and smoked every day. Good for her, lucky lady. It is killing you. it is killing her. Unfortunately, smoking and alcohol, bin them off if you actually want to make progress in the gym. Both of those are just, there's no point in either. And same with food, saturated fats, bad for you, processed food, bad for you, trans fats, bad for you, takeaways, bad for you. Anything processed is just junk. You need to eat whole foods. You need to cook your own foods. You need to center your meals around quality forms of protein. You need your pre-workout meals to be high in carbohydrates. You need to sip on some intra-workout carbohydrates, and you need to eat lots of post-workout carbohydrates, which means you need to have lots of meals in the day, which means you need to change the way you live. You need to change your lifestyle. You need to be on top of your food. You need to be prepping your food. You can't just go through the same day that you went through before, but now when you pop into the supermarket in between, when you've got a little break, you buy, I don't know, like a chicken sandwich instead of a bacon sandwich and say that you've made a healthy substitute. You actually need to change the way you live in order so that you've got the right meals to do the right job. So if you're saying, I'm still skinny, I'm nailing my food, but you just get a slightly healthier meal deal, you've barely made any change. You're literally doing the same thing, same habits, same hobbies, going to the gym and just choosing the product that says protein on the packet. It's not going to be conducive to the performance changes that you want, to make the progress that you want. You say that you're falling behind, you say everyone else is making progress, it's because they're making more changes, they're putting in more effort. It is as simple as that. If you don't have a program, you won't have any progress. That's another simple thing. Goes without saying, no program, no progress. If you don't have a structured program of exercise, i.e. an exercise split with the same lifts on each workout that you progressively overload, you're not going to be able to make progress. If you don't have a programmed diet, set, meal plan, macros, whatever it's going to be, and you just eat off of vibes and whimsically, you're not going to make any progress. You're not going to be able to track anything. If it's not being measured, it's not being managed. If you're not managing things, you're not controlling things, you're not being consistent with things, how are you ever going to track progress or make progress? It's quite simple. You need a proper diet. You need a proper structure of exercise. So if you're new to the gym, you're starting the gym, you've been training in the gym for ages, and you don't have a workout split, find one that sits around your hours of work that you can recover from, that you enjoy. So if you don't work, you don't have a job, get a job. That's your first thing. The gym is pretty much secondary to the fact that you have an income, unless you can't, but you do need a job. You need a job. Okay, that's step one, get a job, get money. You need to fuel this meat market somehow. You're not going to get big if you're poor. It's going to cost money. Food's not cheap. So first, get a job. Second, get a workout split and a structure that fits around that job. So if you work 5 days a week, you might get away with training 5 days a week, train on the 2 days you have off, and then 3 days that you have, which are a bit quieter, throw in your sessions. You can do splits like push-pull legs, upper lower, full body every other day. I've got loads of videos on the channel all about different workout splits. Find one that works your hours, find one you enjoy, find one you can recover from, and then choose the exercises you enjoy, the exercises you can progress, the machines your gym has that are good, the lifts that you like, put those in your splits, progressively overload them. So each week, look at adding a bit of weight, adding a couple reps, doing the standard double progression where you have a rep range, say 6 to 8. You start on 6 reps, you get 7 reps, you get 8 reps, you up the weight, you go back down to 6, 7, 8, etc. You continually make progress. It's not going to be a linear thing, but over time, you'll get stronger and you'll get bigger. And then look at finding your macros, finding yourself a program structure for eating, a proper diet. So you could look at a standard bodybuilding diet where we're just having, meats and rices and veggies, meats, potatoes and veggies, some rice, some fruit, some honey, these sorts of things. You can look at having a paleo diet, a carnivore diet, keto diet, whatever diet you can stick to that you can fix. You need to find your macros. You need to make them work for your body. So you need to look at getting something like Chronometer as a calorie tracking app, plug in your numbers, get your macros, set your goals, find out what you need to eat, track your calories, smash your targets. If it fits your macros, is something everyone needs to start working on doing. If you don't track your calories, that's one place to start. So 3 important things to do there. Get a job, get a workout split that fits around your job, get Chronometer and start tracking your calories. Pretty much the main mistake skinny guys will make, beginners will make, people new to the gym will make, people who don't make progress will make. It will be a simple case that they train too much and that they eat too little. If that scale's not going up, you're not eating enough. And if your progress in the gym isn't going up, you're not getting stronger, you're not adding reps, you're not adding weight, you're probably training too much and you're not able to recover from the volume that you're doing. There's no set golden rules for the amounts you need to eat or the amounts you need to lift. It is all dependent on how many calories you need to grow and how many sets you need to grow, how many sets you can recover from. Everyone will have a different number based on their own recovery, the amount of output they do in a day, in a week. It might differ from person to person. Some people get away with 10 sets on a muscle group per week. Some people get away for 20 sets on a muscle group per week. Some people it will be anywhere between. It might change week on week as their schedule changes. These are the sorts of things you have to find out individual variability. You need to know when you're training too much, which will quite simply be, do you feel recovered for your session? Are you progressing session from session? Are you actually improving? If not, we need to look at cutting back on the volume. And if we can't cut back on the volume anymore because the sessions we do are already tiny, we might need to reduce the frequency of our sessions and add more rest days. I'd say for most people, a good place to start is 5 sessions per week with about 10 sets per muscle group per week. So 10 sets of chest in a week, 10 sets of back, 10 sets of arms, 10 sets of shoulders, etc. Do each muscle as its own. So those sets are only movements that are primary movers of those things. So if we do a set of bench press, we just count that for the primary mover, which will be the chest. We don't count that as sets towards the shoulders and the triceps, for example. If we do a set of squats and we do that sort of like a bias for the quads, we'll count that as the quads. If we don't know what we're doing, we don't know why we're doing it. That's a problem to begin with, but we should know what each exercise is for muscle-wise, and then we should be able to make our program around that. So if we're looking at a little blueprint, some golden rules, to make the most out of our training, we can look at getting 3 to 5 sessions per week. We're looking at going to failure on all of our sets, and we're looking at getting 1 to 2 big compound lifts in per session. So follow those rules for your lifting, you'll get big. If we're looking at some rules for eating, we're going to need to eat real whole foods. We're going to eat like adults. We're going to prep our food, have it in Tupperware, have it always ready, always know where our next meal is coming from. We're going to be ready, not get ready. We're always going to eat real food, not like children. We're going to focus on high carbohydrates, peri-workout, pre, intra, and post. We're going to have high carbs, low fats, fuel our performance, get big. And we're going to need to eat to gain 0.25% to 0.5% of our body weight per week in order to be in a productive rate of gain and growth. And then for recovery, we're going to need to sleep 7 or more hours per day, per night, however you want to say. You need 7 or more, not just 7 or more hours where you're in your bed. You need 7 or more hours where you're actually asleep. No booze or smokes, alcohol, cigarettes, vaping, whatever it's going to be. Terrible for your recovery, terrible for your progress. It kills you. Don't do it. You're going to eliminate stress from your life. If you've got things that cause unnecessary stress, oxidative stress, whatever it is, cortisol, that kills your recovery, that kills your gains. If people ruin your life, bin them off. Just make your life a bit simpler. If you've got things that are horrible that you don't enjoy, bin them off, make your life easier. You'll make more progress. I'm not saying quit your job and leave your wife, but if it's ruining your life, just look in the mirror, take a couple seconds, say, could I be happier? Could I be better without these things? Get rid of them. If you're always stressed about your car's MOT because it's unreliable, get a more reliable car, that kind of thing. And fasted cardio. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Fasted cardio keeps us healthy. Heart, cardiovascular, respiratory system. We need that. We need to be alive. And it will increase our insulin sensitivity so we can make the most out of those carbohydrates. It'll keep our body composition better for longer, because one of the most important things to do is to stay lean, because that will keep us growing for longer. So just to touch on that, the leaner we are, the better muscle to fat ratio we will get when we grow. So if we start from a leaner point, we will gain more and more muscle tissue. As we get bigger and bigger, less and less fat tissue. But if we start from a fatter state, our growth and whatever size we put on will be more biased towards bad tissue and fat. So really, if you're skinny and you're skinny fat, getting super big, super quick won't be helpful, because the fatter you get, the fatter you'll become, the easier it will be to get fatter. Whereas the leaner you are, the easier it is to stay leaner and put on more tissue and keep a lean composition. So one of the most important things to do is not get over fat, because that's when growth becomes unproductive. So obviously we're in the video here about why you're skinny, how to get big, how to solve it. One of the most important things is to not go too far the other way and get fat, because then it's more unproductive and you'll have to cut down more, and that'll be harder in the long run because you'll end up losing the tissue and doing this yo-yo back and forth thing. So if you're small and you're lean, good, get growing, 0.25 to 0.5% of your body weight per week, you'll be golden. But if you're already really over fat and you're skinny fat and you're not a teenager, you might need to look at cutting down first to have a productive growing phase. But if you're new to the gym, first thing you need to do is look at progressing your weights, lifting more, getting that structured program of lifting, structured program of eating, and making progress that way. So I hope in this video I've not come across too harsh. I am just being realistic. If you actually want to make progress, you are actually going to need to make change. You are actually going to need to make sacrifice. You're going to need to put a lot more effort in than you think you are, than you already do. Everyone I know says they nail their training. They say they nail their nutrition. They say they nail their recovery, and yet they do not have the results that speak to that. They do not have what they should have if they do what they say they do. Lots of people's training is not to failure. It is not hard enough. It is not nearly hard enough. Plenty of people will stop that set when they feel a sensation of pain. Okay, a little burn, and they stop. That's not failure. You can keep on going. You can push through past that. It's not failure until the bar stops moving. With squats, it's not failure until the bar's off your back on the rack. Same with a bench. You have to try and get that last rep. And if you're miles away from that, you're not going to make progress, because proximity to failure is what will be indicative to getting enough muscle tension to generate hypertrophy. You need to train hard to grow. Eating properly. You can't get away on processed junk, stuff that says protein on it from the aisles in the supermarket, your protein yogurt, your protein pizza, your protein ice cream, your protein bars, your protein powders. It's not real food. It's maybe all right for your macros because it's got a bit of protein in it. Usually it's high in processed sugar and processed fat. It's got no micronutrient value. It's just slop, and it's expensive. Your money could be spent way better on real food, on actual lean cuts of meat, proper sources of carbohydrates. Think your rices, your potatoes, your vegetables, your fruits, your oats, whatever it is. Your fat sources shouldn't be coming from packets. They should be coming from your proper sources, your nuts, your seeds, your avocados, your meats, your eggs, your oily fish. Eating real food is important. Nobody does it anymore. Eating healthy is considered a diet when it should just be the norm, flat. Everyone should want to live a long and healthy life. Apparently quitting alcohol and smoking is some like saintly thing to do when it should just be the complete normal to not take things that are carcinogenic into your system. Why is that even up for debate? Like, plenty of these things and changes people say are hard to do. They're actually obvious to do, easy to do, and they should be done. Like, when you're going to say, oh, I'm skinny and I've been training for years, you might be coping and say that you've got a fast metabolism, bad genetics, your frame's not built for it, you've got narrow clavicles, your dad wasn't big so you can't be big. It's just all cope for the fact that you're not putting in enough effort to get out the results you want. Rich Piana said it. It's true. The more you put in, the more you get out. Effort is going to get the results you need. Intensity is going to breed immensity. Sacrifice is what you need to do if you need to make progress. Perfection does require you to try. You can't just go through it, go through the motions, randomly go through whatever workout you feel like on the day based off of vibes. Go to Aldi after your workout, have a protein bar and, I don't know, a pack of sweets and say that's sorted for your macros because you've got carbs and protein in. And then go to bed at, 11 o'clock, phone right till the end of it, wake up, go to work, repeat. You're not going to make any progress. You're not going to make any recovery. You're not eating right. You're not training right. You're not recovering right. What do you expect? It's as simple as that. Nail those boxes. Do what I've said in the video. Watch my other videos. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get huge. It's quite simple. It takes a long time. Of course, muscle, unfortunately, isn't quick to synthesize. We only put on a tiny little bit amount every day. And if we're doing it wrong every day, we're not even doing that. So we're never going to make progress. It's going to take years of constant hard work that will make little changes chip by chip that will get us from skinny to slightly less skinnier, to slightly less skinnier, big, bigger, really big. Holy moly, look at that guy. You actually need to put in that effort. Start here, watch this video, save this video, come back to this video when you're stuck. If you stop growing, watch all my videos. You will definitely make progress, trust me. That's going to leave it there, guys. I'm not being harsh. I'm being realistic. You need to definitely take it up. If you think you're at 100%, go to 110%. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. So I'll leave it there, guys. Peace.